The Milestar Patagonia MTs. Are they awesome? Are they terrible? A little bit of both, but after running these for about 25,000 miles on the Jeep, I'm just going to share a final review and some quick pros and cons and tips that might help you if you're running these tires on your rig. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to 4x Trail. I'm Caleb. It's great having you along today for this video. And a big thanks to all of you who have been subscribing and liking and sharing these videos. That's super cool. And if you're not already subscribed, I invite you to join the 4x Trail team. Even right now, you can hit that subscribe button. It's a free way to get some cool content that will hopefully inspire you to go have some great adventures for yourself. So thanks in advance for that. All right, today we're looking at my Milestar Patagonia MTs that I've been running on the Jeep for about 25,000 miles all over the country, hitting lots of trails, as well as a lot of pavement time. And I've got some thoughts on these tires after running them for a while. Some of you may have seen my initial review I did on these tires. Well, this will kind of be the final review after running them and having them off the Jeep now for a few months and running the new Yokohamas that you see behind them there. I've just got some thoughts on these Milestars. So we're going to make this pretty quick today, get right to the point. Let's start with some of the pros. The Milestar Patagonia MTs are incredibly lightweight for what they are. I've been running them in a 37 by 12.5 R17, and these tires were only 72 pounds when they were new, which is crazy for a 37-inch mud terrain tire if you look at some of the weights of the tires. So if unsprung weight is a big deal to you, you're going to want to check these out. Second pro of these is they are really sticky on the rocks. Off-road, I've been super happy with the performance of these tires. And these aren't the black label either. These come in a black label, which is even better performing off-road. But these are just the standard, Milestar Patagonias. Really happy with them off-road. Super sticky on the rocks. And I've had a good experience with them there. Third pro would be the price. Not so much now, but when I first bought these, I think I paid like $240 something for these tires, which is pretty great and considering the price of some of the 37-inch and larger tires now. So I think still they're pretty competitive on their prices, so that could be a pro as well. Now, design-wise, these are a little interesting because they're a domed tire. They're not flat across the top like the Yokohamas that I'm running now on the Jeep are. These are a domed tire, which means you have to run a higher PSI. Milestar recommends 36 to 38 PSI for these in a 37-inch size, which is a lot higher than most 37s need or require or recommend. So that's something that at first I didn't realize, and I ran too low of PSI in these and caused some premature wear. We're going to get to that more in a second. But that would be just an interesting point about these tires. They are a domed design, and so they are made to run just on the center tread block pattern when you're on the road and not really touching the outer tread blocks very much. That is a negative in the sense that wet weather traction can be bad. Now, I actually had a pretty good experience even in the wet on pavement with these tires. Some people don't have good experiences with that. I think part of the reason why I had a decent experience is I ran too low of PSI from what Milestar recommends. I pretty much averaged, I'd say 32 PSI. I think I ran 33 for probably the most of the time, but I was trying different PSIs before realizing they needed to be as high as 38. So I was running low 30s for most of the life of these tires, and it kind of bit me because they wore out really quickly. Started noticing block chop, uneven wear on the side treads, and then the middle section of tread by the end, it's all wavy and worn really strangely. So probably around 20,000 miles, it got to be pretty annoying driving it, really rough when you come to a stop, more noisy. And it lasted another 5,000 miles, and I was like, okay, I've got to get a new set of tires, even though it has decent tread left on them, but just the wear was way too uneven. Now, I think that a lot of that's because I ran too low of PSI. But the positives of running a lower PSI on these was the ride wasn't very rough. When you think about a 37-inch tire aired up to 38 PSI, it's going to be a pretty rough ride. So I wanted a softer ride, which I was able to get, and I think it improved my wet weather traction as well. Of course, it caused the tire to wear out prematurely. So pros and cons to weigh if you're running these tires, running higher PSI, lower PSI. I think you could get quite a bit more mileage out of them running the recommended 36 to 38 PSI. What tire size, type, and PSI are you running? I'd love to hear in the comments. Let's kind of start some dialogue there. It might be interesting for people to see. I'm still figuring out what to run in my Yokohamas exactly, because I don't want to repeat the premature tread wear that I had on these Milestars. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you in the comments what PSI you're running. I will say too, I'm running these are a Load Range D tire. They come in a heavier ply and I think a lighter ply as well. But Load Range D is what I've been running. I'm really happy with it. The sidewall puncture resistance that has the 3-ply sidewall is pretty fantastic. These tires took some pretty sharp rocks to the sidewall throughout their life, and I had no issues at all. So would I buy these again? I didn't. I bought the Yokohama Geolanders. I don't think I would. I think the whole design of having to run a higher PSI, it's just a turnoff to me. It's not practical for daily driving. I don't like running that high of PSI for the traction reasons we talked about and just the ride comfort. So I probably wouldn't buy these tires again, although I do think they're a pretty great performing tire off-road for the price. So worth checking out. If any of the pros are high on your list of priorities, definitely check them out. I'll leave a link for these down below if you want to check that out. Well, I hope this was a helpful, quick rundown for you. If you already have these tires or if you're looking at getting them, maybe this helped you in your decision. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon in an upcoming video.